drink water and mind my business. Unfortunately, we have to mind the people's business here on the Now Morning Show, and that's what we're trying to do, checking in with NATUC General Secretary Mr. Michael Annisette, just to find out where the union stands on this public sector safe zone initiative that is to be rolled out by the government the 15th of January. Good morning to you, Mr. Annisette, and Happy New Year.
Same to you, and morning to all public servants, all port workers, all employees of the government, because we have a challenge on our hands.
And what is that challenge?
The challenge speaks to a government not social dialoguing with the trade union movement, instituting policies that affect the terms and conditions of all government employees, and now determined that it will be mandatory in the sense that if you are not vaccinated, you won't be allowed to work, which is a breach of our collective agreements. And two, you will be sent home eventually, which is constructive dismissal.
But Mr. Annisette, I've been listening to the conversation over the weeks, and I've heard from the Attorney General. I know that there was a meeting. I know that there were letters exchanged, at least from some unions, with the Attorney General, and he's suggesting that what he wants to know is what other solutions do the unions offer. Can you share that with us?
No. Listen, I cannot answer for JTAM. They would have articulated every association that went there, including the prison police, right? They would have come up publicly, JTAM, and said that the Attorney General misrepresented what transpired at the meeting. I cannot answer because NATUC took a conscious decision that we was not going to attend a meeting where an Attorney General writes you on something so critical today for today or for the following day. We consider that a disrespect. We consider that was a PR gimmick, and NATUC would not have been part of that. Because if you're talking policy decisions that affect workers, you must allow the federations to meet with their members, to meet with their attorneys, to meet with their medical advisors in order to formulate a policy that will be informed and that will make sense. Today for today is a disrespect, and it demonstrated in NATUC view that the Attorney General was not serious about engaging the federation. We would have written... Go on.
If NATUC recognizes that, from NATUC's perspective, this is a breach of terms and conditions, how do you propose that the issue be resolved?
No, well then, obviously, there are laws which apparently the Attorney General and the Prime Minister seems not to recognize and want to honor. The Prime Minister, as the Prime Minister, is not the head of the public service. The public service have a head. And when a Prime Minister of a country can go on television and say, I am giving you a week off, and from the 15th to the 13th, what will happen? That is a fundamental breach of the terms and conditions, one, of the public officers, but more importantly, is a fundamental breach of the laws which governs the public service who operates under a particular act of parliament, and no one wants to pay attention to it. But to add insult to injuries, with the greatest of respect, the Attorney General, who's supposed to be the custodian of the Constitution, came and prattled the same thing that the Prime Minister say, thereby adding insults to injury. So who do we trust? You are the custodian of our Constitution, and you are in fundamental breach of the Constitution by setting up policies and by making decisions for public service, servants and government employees where you have no authority in law to so do. That is the reality.
I mean, Mr. Annisette, I beg to challenge that. I beg to challenge that.
Well, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead. You show me, and I serious today, you show me and you point to me where the Prime Minister, as the Prime Minister, has jurisdiction, or he is the de jure employer of public servants. There's a marked separation between the institutions. Mark separation. So all I want you to show me and to point me and to tell the public where the law gives the Prime Minister to make decisions publicly and stated on behalf of public servants without going through the proper channel. Everything must be put into the proper context. And in Trinidad and Tobago, we have to get serious.
So let me ask you something, Mr. Annisette.
Hold on. Wait, allow me to finish. An unilateral approach by this government, which is perennial, must stop within a democratic society. We have laws, and if the Prime Minister and the Attorney General disregard those laws, we must be man and woman enough, whether it's TTT or whatever TV, to say they were wrong legally, and they were wrong.
Well,
That's a fact that cannot be challenged.
Mr. Anisette, I am not aware at this time that the Prime Minister or the Attorney General was wrong. What I'm asking what I'm asking you to tell me, Mr. Anisette, we have to have a conversation.
Yes.
It means you have to allow me to speak, right?
Yes,
what I'm asking you to tell...
And then you have to allow me to speak.
Mr. Anisette, I haven't even finished the sentence.
No, but you see, I am not going to be bullied with the greatest of respect. You are
Mr.
not
Anisette,
going to do that.
That is not a fair comment. Because when you were speaking and you asked me to give way, I gave way. And the minute I started speaking, I'm just going to end the conversation if this is how it's going to go, if you're going to speak over me.
Well, then you are free to end. I am not speaking over you. All I'm simply asking...
You are, because you're not allowing me to finish the point. You haven't allowed me to ask the question.
Finish.
Every time I start speaking, you tell me, no, hold on, and I've given way. So is this a monologue, or is this an interview where I am the interviewer, you are the interviewee, and you answer the questions that I'm asking?
Your question, I am allowing you to finish the question.
What question? You haven't allowed me to ask a second one.
No, well, I am telling you to finish it. I am telling you, but you are taking up on monologue and using up my time to express. So could you finish your question to me?
As I said, I am not aware of the Prime Minister or the Attorney General being wrong. And what I'm asking you is, this law that you claim that was breached, could you state to me what the law is and where the breach is?
All right, okay, I will answer that for anybody who have common sense in Trinidad and Tobago. Is the Prime Minister the head of the public service? Is the CPO, the de jure, the chief personal officer, the de jure employer of public servants? Do the public servants operate under terms and conditions that is within a constitution? That is the first question. And I'm telling you, no. There is a separation of power with the judiciary, the government, and all the other. And then that is why in the Constitution, when we went to get independence, it was made clear that there must be a separation so that the government could not interfere with the work of the public servants.
Mr. Annisette, I'm still waiting to hear what law was breached and what the breach is.
But I am telling you, there is laws which governs how the public servants are supposed to operate. There is an employer who is called the chief personal officer. There is someone who is a public service administrator. There's a procedure that is followed. And everybody knows that. There is an act which governs the public servant terms and conditions.
I agree with you that there are laws that deal with terms and conditions, but at this point, I don't know that it has been established outside of the opinion of the unions that this is a breach of term and conditions, because that has not been brought to the industrial court as yet, as far as I'm aware. So in the absence of that, Mr. Annisette, in the absence of that, let us look at the Prime Minister as the head of state. Are you suggesting to me that the Prime Minister does not have the right to introduce a policy position, whether it affects public servants, yes or no, because you see it as a matter of terms and conditions?
Did I say that? I said that the Prime Minister, as the Prime Minister, had no authority to go publicly and say public servants and them will take 7 days off. That is not under his remit. Could he have done that with the judiciary? Could he have gone and said, well, the judiciary from the Chief Justice would have taken days off? He cannot do it. And let us be real. Say what I said. I was talking about the question of the Prime Minister publicly stating that public servants will get 7 days and effective from a particular date, you will have to be vaccinated, right? I don't know that is a policy decision. What I know is that that is not written in the terms and conditions of employment of the public servants, the port workers, okay, the tea and tech workers, the MTS workers, the daily rated workers.
So let me understand it. Is it because it was said publicly, or is it because it was said privately, or is it that you don't believe that he has the authority to give public servants time off? Which one is it?
Oh, well, let me repeat myself again. The Prime Minister of this country has no authority to interfere in public service affairs as it relates to giving time off and matters of that nature. There is a body set up in law that deals with that. And allow me to repeat again, the Chief Personnel Officer is the de jure employer of public servants. Let us understand that. And I will make the point, can the Prime Minister, although he's head of state, go and direct to the judiciary? Can he do that? No, he cannot do that because that is an independent body. And the public service was set up as an independent body where there are laws, rules, and regulations governing their terms and conditions of employment and who they report to. Right? The permanent sec is the accounting officer. Okay, she handles everything. That is how it was set up when we went to get our constitutional right, because the opposition insisted that they didn't want the government to interfere in the public service. And I mean, I am telling you historical facts, and people who know the Constitution will correct you when they see you. The Prime Minister do not have that authority, with the greatest respect. In terms of policies, he can make policies yet, but if the policies affect the people of Trinidad and Tobago, can the Prime Minister unilaterally make those policies without engaging the people of Trinidad and Tobago who will be affected by those very policies? Is that democracy? Is that how democracy operates? Do I have a right to have a say in matters that affect me, be it collective agreement or constitutional matters?
How does the union plan to treat with this, Mr. Annisette, considering the position of the union that the Prime Minister has done something that he does not have the remit to do without going through the proper channels? How does the union plan to address this?
No, well, I cannot speak for the other unions, but I can speak for the National Trade Union Center. The implementation of the so-called safe zone, and I'm saying so-called because there's no data to support, right, empirically, that if you have a so-called safe zone, but I don't call it a safe zone, I just call it a compliance zone with the government, that you cannot spread COVID. The history is clear on that, and the evidence is there to support that. So having said that, the only time we will have a case is when something happened. Nothing has happened to date. We are waiting patiently. All the unions, I must say, and I can talk for all the federations, so I want all the unions, and we are telling our members to report to work as usual. Let them tell you that you cannot work, and we will deal with that matter. We will deal with that matter. We have a batteries of lawyers standby, and also we will do what the trade union and workers know to do best when bread is being taken out of their mouth by a government illegally and wrongfully and with total disregard for humanity and people's rights.
All right, Mr. Annisette, we have to leave it there, but thank you so much for speaking with us this morning, and we wait to see how this matter will be resolved.
All right, yes, we wait, and public servants and all government workers, do not be afraid, don't let fear conquer you. We will be there, the trade union movement, to support and rally behind you. God bless, stay firm, and as I always say, we have to go back to our ancestral mothers and fathers, because this is a spiritual fight. It's not an ordinary fight with this government. Thank you.
Oh, all right, thank you so much, Mr. Annisette. Michael Annisette, their Secretary General of NATUC, speaking to us, and he's saying nothing has happened yet, but they have their batteries of lawyers waiting for when these public sector safe zone, when the public sector safe zone initiative take effect. But he believes that the Prime Minister did not have the remit and the right to be directing public servants, which he says is an independent body on when they can take vacation, what they have to do, because it's a breach of terms and conditions.